The question now becomes, how do we calculate total revenue out of the data? So we are going to ask that question to ChatGPT. This is interesting. Can you tell me how to calculate total revenue by data? I prefer using pivot tables in Excel. I'm nudging it in the direction. I don't want it to tell me that, oh, you can write a sum formula to calculate or whatever. I'm saying, tell me how this can be done with pivot tables. So this is going to give you the instructions for setting up the pivot table. I'm not going to read through all of this because it'll just take a while and probably correct. But again, there might be one or two things that it may have gotten wrong as well. But essentially, it says, assuming this is the data that you have, select the entire data set, including the headers, go to Insert tab, put in Pivot Table, and then choose where you want, click OK. So all the specific instructions for creating Pivot Table. This part is super helpful because, for example, let's say, most of us would know how to use a pivot or how to write a simple formula. But let's just say you don't know how to do a very specific thing in Excel, like how to set up a conditional formatting for a special condition or whatever. Maybe you know or you don't know, but you forgot the whole thing. You can ask ChatGPT that exact question, like, how do I do this? And it's going to give you that step-by-step instructions, which is super helpful. Then you just read that. You can go and replicate that one at a time until you hit that. So it's very helpful. And what it can also do is you can, in this session, I don't want to corrupt it by throwing more things into the kitchen sink here, but you can also ask it, hey, can you explain it to me using my own industry terms? For example, I was trying to understand a statistical concept earlier last week. I kind of knew what it is, but something was not clicking in my mind. So I asked ChatGPT what that concept is. It gave me a very decent explanation, but it was also a little bit textbook-like, so I couldn't really wrap my head around it. So then I asked it, hey, can you explain to me in the cricket terms? Because I understand cricket very well. I'm a fan, and I thought, it'll be fun to see what that concept would mean if it is explained in the cricketing world. And it did a pretty decent explanation, and then it started to make a little bit more sense to me. So you could do that. You can ask questions like, do this, but use these words or this level of language or what.